Professor Sampson had not given me much of time option, so he asked me the day before yesterday afternoon whether I can speak today. I said no problem. So then yesterday only we have frozen in the theme, and then we just worked upon a little because it was originally started as business leadership. Then we added on some global success stories. See, if you go on speaking about the theories are good, and if it is said by people with a lot of conviction and courage, it can be understood as well. But then we definitely see these theories getting applied into practice, and that is when this become experiential learning. And the best form of learning, when we do a lot of pedagogical learning actually, or teaching, and everything is essentially pedagogical in nature. But if you really go to experiential learning, and that is where the real crux of learning all about. So that is therefore we discussed, and I said that I will include some examples. Okay, I had taken two global examples as well as one Indian example, and I'll go a little deeper into these examples. Okay, so next 40-45 minutes I would be indulging in essentially starting about leadership, then going into specific leadership of these personalities. Okay, and maybe in the last 15 to 20 minutes we can have questions. I definitely do welcome questions. At the same time, I do understand that though we have a normal inclination not to ask questions, let me remind all of you that the people who ask the questions and continuously ask the questions are the one who had moved up in life. So asking questions must definitely be part of the student's life. In fact, student's life is all about asking questions and making professors' life miserable. Okay, so do ask questions, and I would love to converse with you directly and one-to-many series. So let us come to the subject. So here it is business leadership and the global success stories. Going forward, so you people, particularly most of you are students, and I see that okay, you people, the growth path as far as you are concerned in front of you, you will become a corporate executive. You will start, maybe most of you will start as career as a junior executive, then you go into senior executive, then you become middle manager, manager and middle manager, and then you go into general management, and thereafter into, we call it a CXO gang. CXO, where X is the variable. X, in place of X, you can put CEO, CFO, CMO, CHRO, etc., etc. So we call them as a CXO. And some of you will actually go to occupy the corner of C-suite. C-suite is the chief executive. So some of you are definitely will go on to become the chief executive, go on to honor or be part of the chief executive. Some of you, in the meanwhile, may start immediately after this class, may get into entrepreneurship, and some of you may gain some experience and go into entrepreneurship, and therefore you would come to be known as business personalities. Okay, that also. So in all of this, there is this element of leadership. It is actually the element of leadership that keeps organization going. You look at your institution, and I have been watching MIIM for the last 2-3 years. So that element of leadership that has come in, everything clicked, and today you're far ahead of many business schools that is dwelling in the part in Kerala. In fact, are you as a management professional, as a management thinker, as a management mover, I had been very worried about the quality of the quality of management institutions across the state of Kerala. But I'm happy that some of you have taken notice of this and taken strides in saying that management philosophies and management methodologies and management pure thinking is taken. And in spite of the fact that we are going through the COVID, your institution and the management found it necessity to keep you posted about global stories, Indian stories, get so many people from all over the world to come and speak to you. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you students to learn from these people. So do ask questions to these people and take as much as of, like, it's like saying take juice out of them and make them uncomfortable asking questions. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind you making me uncomfortable asking questions, because asking questions is the way to progress. Therefore, do not keep mum. Do not keep mum. Please ensure that you ask questions. So coming back to this, so the leadership element, whether you're a manager, whether you're a corporate executive, or whether you're a business person, and of course, definitely we have societal leaders, we have political leaders, we have religious leaders, we have leaders in all spheres of life and in our living. But definitely here we are concerned about, since we are business students, I would definitely talk to you about the business leaders. going forward, let me just try to give you some differentiation between the managers and the leaders, and then we will go into our subject. Managers have subordinates, okay? Subordinates who report to you. You know, there are so many people. You may have direct reporting, you have a matrix reporting, you have collective reporting. All these possibilities are there. Managers actually have report as subordinates, whereas leaders have followers. Leadership is the art of influencing people. Leadership is the art of leading. So therefore, leaders don't have subordinates, leaders have followers. I remember, sometime back, the person is long dead, but he was in political sphere, Mr. K. Karunakaran. He was addressed as the leader. He was not addressed as chief minister. He was not addressed as former chief minister. He was not addressed as opposition leader. He was not addressed as former union industry minister. He was always addressed by all and sundry as leader. Why? Why? Because he had been able to create so much of followers around him that he is always called the leader. Tell me somebody in our midst who is called a leader. Very seldom that you come across. That means those qualities are slowly going away, and those qualities are lacking in many of the people. And I don't want to go political, but will any of us sitting in here actually look at our current chief minister and ask him a leader? Definitely we cannot, because behavioral traits and the operational habits of these people do not give us this opportunity to look up at them and say, salute and say you are the leader. That doesn't happen. But leaders definitely need followers. Then managers are transaction oriented. They are into this and they're into that. They're ensuring that you follow the process. They ensure that you do the target. They ensure that you're told what to do and you do. Whereas leaders are transformational people. They transform you. Okay. So you undergo a complete inside out variation with a leader who is around you. I had seen plenty of example of people who had completely changed, either behaviorally or operationally or even personally. They have changed because they have had some good followers, so good leaders. And that's why in Sanskrit we use a word called satsang. Satsang. Sang means sat, today, being with. Sat means, sachai, truth. Satsang, therefore, is called for being. You are being with the truth or being with the truthful people. And that satsang actually makes you transformational in your life. Okay. Then, of course, managers are focused on work. People, leaders are focused on people. It's the people who actually get things happen. So there's a very distinct difference between focusing on the work, getting work done, or focusing on people, leading the people. Managers try to avoid risk because they have been told not to take much of risk and see that the targets are achieved. Whereas leaders do take risk. They definitely do take risk. Somebody take calculated risk. Somebody take uncertain leads, the risk. Somebody take unknown risk. We really do not know. I'll give you an example. 25 years back, nobody knew that there is a thing called the internet which will rule the roost of the world. 25 years back. Okay, so that 25 years back, internet was an unknown. How many people have gone into that unknown and made it rich or made their leadership count? Okay. Now I can also give you an example. So we are speaking certain things about genomics. We are speaking certain things about IoT, etc. These are all things we really do not know much about. But you will see another 15 to 20 years later. Okay. These are going to be the propositions that is available to you, my dear business students, which you can make your life and career and progress with. And managers actually get things done in a disciplined way. Leaders, they don't discipline you, they motivate you. Leaders motivate you. And they motivate you, they inspire you. They themselves become an inspiration. And that makes you transformational, that makes you changing. Just to give an example between the manager and the leader before going to the subject of the leader. Now, just to define, therefore, what is leadership? Yeah, I have already told, but influencing people. So the art of making and keeping followers, that is one element of that. The art of creating leaders, that is something which is completely lacking. Look at a party which was started by A.O. Humes some 2 centuries back. Now, what happened to that party today? It is leaderless, it is rudderless, it is dead. Congress party, which has gained independence to our country, which is dead. Why? There is no leadership. Why? Some people care to see that it doesn't create leaders. They went for dynasty. They went for very incompetent people to be at the head. What has happened now? Absolutely shambles. Okay. They're not even able to win one seat. What happened in the latest Bihar election? My goodness. So let's set about that. So art of creating leaders, but if you don't create, it is the responsibility of the leader, whether business leader, religious leader, political leader, social leader, or any type of leader, to ensure that a leadership, there is no leadership vacuum in your institution. Okay. We really, in places like AMA, ISTD, in another organization, TIE, etc., and also I'm also part of it. We ensure that leaders, there is no leadership vacuum. There is a collectivity, and the collectivity is immediate past leader, the current leader, and the future leader. So the immediate past leader, the current leader, and the future leader combines, and collective leadership is given. And that is how leadership vacuum is avoided. So art of creating leaders. Okay, art of producing performers. You motivate people to produce performance. You don't discipline people to produce performance. You motivate people to produce performance. I've seen several cases where absolutely people who have not been able to get things done with someone, out of sheer love, out of sheer motivation, out of inspiration, they had actually become completely different as a performer. There are plenty of examples of people who by motivation had actually started to become performers. And of course, art of doing things differently, not different things differently. That is out of the box, or innovatively, or creatively doing it is called doing things differently. And having the ability to take charge, very important, very important. You have all the four above, but if you don't have the ability to take charge of the right thing, a tsunami happens, okay, or a network happens, or a major calamity happens, or a situation comes that we need to save life. So somebody, I would request all of you to keep your connection unmuted, please. Thank you very much. Okay, because when I go in a flow, this really hits me. Yeah, please help me. Okay, having the ability to take charge. The charge ability, you have to really take charge at some instances. That is also called situational leadership. Situational leadership. See, I had seen many number of instances. When a pilot flies the plane, he's the leader. But the plane undergoes an accident and falls on a mountainside. He is dead. Suddenly, a doctor inside, he finds that there are people who are injured. The doctor becomes the leader. Suddenly, we find an army man who knows the terrain. He leads the people out of the place. Then the army man becomes the leader. You understand? These are all called situational leadership. And leadership also essentially have the ability to take charge. And creating, all I say, creating and sustaining excellence. If excellence is not there, the world will not actually be a good place to live. Excellence, always be moving upon, improving upon, and that excellence should be there. And optimizing the resources, not wasting resources, not going for abundant resources, optimizing. Mahatma Gandhi had once said, it's a difference between the need and the greed. Greed is wasting, need is optimizing. So you optimize your resources based on your need. That is also part of the traits of the leadership. Okay. So far the going is okay. Can I go ahead, my dear students or principal? Okay. Right. So I'll keep going. Thank you very much for your comment. Okay. I just want, this is a Zen philosophy. Zen is a Buddhist philosophy. Zen philosophy originally was called Dhyanam. Dhyanam has become Zen in China. Later, when it went to Korea and other places, Japan and Korea, they came to be called as Zen. Zen is a little quizzical in nature. There is no direct interpretation of anything by Zen. In Zen, things are interpreted through examples, and then things are interpreted indirectly. Just read this. This is a question of identifying people. Okay, identifying a leader, identifying a follower, identifying a trainee, identifying a learner. What does it say? He who knows and knows that he knows. I know and I know that I know. He who knows and knows that he knows, but is silent. You always know the case. Niragudam tulumbugayilla. Okay, where people who know and know that they know, they did not show off. They did not show off, not show up, show off. So they are silent. He's the wisest, seek him. He's the wisest to seek him. So look at people who knows and knows that they know, and then they are silent. You go after them. They can be the best teachers. You can learn a lot of things from. The second is he who knows and knows not that he knows. I know, but I don't know that I know. I'll give an example. There's a case in Ramayana. There is this guy called Hanuman. Okay, when they were trying to go for finding out where is Sita Devi being taken to, she was taken to Sri Lanka. That was, or Sri Lanka. Okay, now how will they go there? They were trying to create a big bridge or a palam. Okay, now Jambavan, the old bear, comes and tells Hanuman, say that, Beta, you are the only one. You can actually jump over. You don't need a bridge. You don't need a palam. Just jump, you will reach Sri Lanka. Hanuman actually has the ability to jump, but he did not know that he has the ability to jump. When Jambavan said that, the bear Jambo said that, okay, he can do that, he jumped and he reached Sri Lanka. You understand? So he who knows and knows not that he knows. Okay, they are sleeping people, wake them. I'm sure among you students, there's a lot of students here. They have that ability and competence, but they did not know that they have the ability and competence. It is the job of people like Samson and Professor Principal to see that they are actually sought and they are woken up. Then the third category, people who knows not, and but knows that knows not. I don't know, but I know that I don't know. Simple people, easy to teach them. Okay. I know, I don't know, but I know that I don't know. We can always learn. So these are all people you can become good followers. You can teach them, inspire them, motivate them. And the last one in Zen, it says, okay, he who knows not and knows not that he knows not. I don't know. And I don't know that I don't know. 90% of the people that we come across are people of this. You don't even touch them, shun them. Don't even touch them with a badge-pole. Okay. In politics that we see a lot of people, I know, but they don't know they know. Okay. So these are the people. So this is the category that Zen has given. I found it very, very interesting and inspirational, a quote. So wherever I go to speak about leadership, I use this. Okay. People who knows and knows that they know. People who knows and knows not that they know. People who knows not and knows that they don't know. And people who knows not and knows not that knows not. That is the type of people that we need to be actually looking. So you can identify who is a teacher, who is a leader, who could be a follower, who could be taught, and who could be shunned. So this is a very good Zen philosophy for that. Going forward, I just want to take you to the successful leadership. Okay, successful global business leadership. Now, I thought initially I thought I'll take so many leaders and place it before you. Then I went through my beam and saw that, okay, I'll take 3 people. I'll go a little deeper into that to explain their personality and their leadership traits, so that there is some learning for every one of you in that. Okay, so let me get going to that. Before that, now I would definitely take your attention to these 3 companies to be watched out for multiple reasons, for positive reasons and for negative reasons. Okay. Now, Google. Okay. Today, many of you students know that I don't need to learn because I can Google. Everything is there in the Google. Okay. Now, if you have a disease, you go and Google. There's a problem because Google gives you multiplicity of scenarios, and you really did not know which is what. So that is a challenge. So the information and data and knowledge, etc., is available in Google. Okay, so it's good. But Google also knows where you are. Google also knows where you go. Google knows where you're going to the theater, where you go to the bar, whether you're taking drugs, where you're going to, which girl you're after, which boy you're after. Okay, all that is there. So Google can catch you. Today, Google definitely know where you are. So be careful. In a world where Google is watching you, the big brother Google is watching you up there through its satellites. So be careful. The second one is Facebook. You know that in the election of Donald Trump, Facebook played a major role. It's a Russian group which has done that. They have Cambridge Analytica. They went through and they got the Facebook accounts of people and started hounding them with data of people going to be killed and this and that and all. And the majoritarianism started and Trump got elected. Something that should not have happened in the history of politics across the world. Okay. Now, therefore, in Facebook, with attached WhatsApp and Instagram, has this ability to influence your thoughts without you realizing that your thoughts are being influenced. There is a negative, but the positive is that everything is there. You can show yourself up, you can understand people. I know about companies, when they want to interview people, before interviewing them, they go to the Facebook and try to find out the personality traits, because it is very much there. Okay, and how to influence, what to talk, what communication to be given. And the last is Amazon, whose founder and chief executive officer is the richest man in the world today. Okay, Amazon really, they have completely made inside out of you. They know what you like, what you don't like, what you like to eat, what you like to wear, what we like to buy, where you would like to go, all those things. So Amazon is using those Facebook strategies to influence your thinking. Okay, and then make that available to you, and you are motivated or inspired or pushed to buy. So there are lots of good things about Google, Facebook, and Amazon. But there are lots of bad things about Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Yeah, you as students, you are people who have your own brain and your own thought processes. Please do not completely give in. Anything you can give. Don't give away your brains. Okay, don't give away your thought process. If you give away your thought process to Facebooks and Instagrams and Googles and Amazon, definitely you're going to be in trouble. So therefore, these three companies, you use them selectively. Okay, but do not use them completely, because they can misguide you and you may go into big trouble. Okay, and you can become a spendthrift. Now, let me just go to the next slide where it is like this. There is already a generational corporate shift has happened in the last 30 years that I look at, because I have been actually in the IT field from 1980, 84, 83, 84. And I started my career in 1980. 1980 to 1980, 84, I was in instrumentation electronics field. And 84, I came into IT. So 84 to now, if I look at 36 years, I have been in IT. And I have seen Microsoft growing right in front of my eyes. I had seen IBM right in front of my eyes. I had seen Apple and Oracle and Google and Facebook right in front. So since I have a very good, I'm sorry, I'm making a little chest thumping, but forgive me for that. I do feel that I have a good observational skill. So I had actually seen these institutions and the corporations as well as the individuals through. Okay. Microsoft, visionary guy, Bill Gates, who had built up. Apple, Steve Jobs. Today, all these equipments that we use, whether it is from Samsung or Chinese make, there is an Apple original thinking in that. Steve Jobs, okay, and of course Oracle. Everything in the world, he's the one who had put them into a database, so that whether it is knowledge, data, information, numbers, anything, he had actually created a structure around which you can store so that you can retrieve faster. So all this data growth actually happened in the world because there are things like database, RDBMS, relational database management systems available. And Larry Ellison, okay, he's a little bells and whistles guy, little pompous guy, but at the same time, you will realize that Larry Ellison actually had been instrumental in getting this Oracle, the relational database management system. So from that generation of the 80s, things have now come into this century. In the 20s of the 21st century, we are now shifted from Microsoft, Apple, Oracle to Google, Facebook, and Amazon. I had already explained Google, Facebook, and Amazon. I'm not going to go much details into you, but Google, which is built up by Stanford researchers, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Facebook from Harvard, that is Mark Zuckerberg, and of course Amazon, Jeff Bezos, who had been a corporate executive or an investment executive in the Wall Street in New York. Okay, so these are the companies. Now these companies now dominate the scenario. Facebook, Google, Facebook, and Amazon. It is not that Microsoft and Apple and Oracle not there, because they see Microsoft, Bill Gates was the richest man of the world for close to about 15 years. Now that shift has happened towards Jeff Bezos. So I'm saying the generational shift has happened from one set of companies, okay, a visionary set of companies, into an activity set of companies, which is suiting the millennials. Millennials are those, most of your students are sitting in front of me, I will term it as millennials. People who are born after 1985, last century, are called millennials. And now the latest is called Generation Z, or we also call Gen I, because you are called the internet generation. Okay, going forward. Now, let me now come into the aspect of, so I'm going to really decipher these three leaders. Okay, one is Bill Gates. Okay, because he belongs to the generation last as far as you're concerned. And my dear students, you must understand, a generation used to be 30 years. Now a generation is 20 years. Now, as time go by, you'll see a generation being determined by tenure. Okay, because that is a growth of data, that is a growth of technology, that's a growth of information. So when things go such fast in nanosecond speed, okay, then the generation also become much faster. So we are actually going to move away from the generation which is determined by 20 years into a generation which will be determined by 10 years. Okay, so that's why I just thought I will show before you one generation away. That is, I will take Bill Gates. I will show you one generation now, that is Jeff Bezos. And definitely, I would like you to know an Indian industrialist and an entrepreneur. Therefore, I have chosen Mukesh Ambani, and you will hear a lot about him. It is not that you haven't heard much about him, but you'll be now hearing a lot about him in future too. So I am now going to place before you the characteristics and the business characteristics and traits of these gentlemen before you. One is Bill Gates, the other is Jeff Bezos, and the last is Mukesh Ambani. Not in that order, but then I thought, I will show the Indian at the last. That is what it is. Okay, let me go to the next one. I'm going to Bill Gates. Bill Gates of Microsoft. My slides are visible. Samson, is it okay? Can somebody tell me, unmute and tell me, because there is some bug has come in between there, I believe. Okay. Yeah. Am I audible? Can somebody give me an answer?
Audible, sir. Audible.
Yes, you are.
My slides are visible?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So let me keep going forward. Okay. Now, Bill Gates. See, he is a very transformational leader. He was studying in Harvard. Okay. That is when a company called Apple came up, and they started the company DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation, came up, and the company created an operating system called DR-DOS. And that was the first operating system which started managing the computer system effectively. And that time Bill Gates was studying in Harvard. He was doing his undergraduate course in Harvard. Okay. And while doing there, he saw that IBM had started. First it was a company which doesn't exist. Thereafter, Apple and IBM, they came into starting something called personal computing, and which evolved something called personal computers that we call PC. Okay. Today that has evolved into a notebook computer, into a iPad computer, into a mobile phone computer. Today you use a mobile phone which is at least 100 times better than the super computers of yesteryears. Okay, so that is what it is. Okay, so he saw this opportunity. Okay, while studying in Harvard, he was very good at coding, very good. And those days, people were using languages called Fortran, Formula Translator Fortran, COBOL, and C language. These were the three languages available. And of course, then there were some proprietary languages available with IBM and similar other companies. Now, Bill Gates thought that, okay, this is my opportunity. So I will rather go into softwares. Okay. So by sitting in Harvard, he started coding. In fact, he used to code for 20 hours. And somebody was so infatuated, somebody was so fascinated by the technology, and somebody wanted to say that he had the vision, said, it is me who is going to rule the roost as far as the computing world is concerned. To the extent later IBM, Microsoft and Intel came to be called as IBM's unruly kids. Okay, or they came to be called as computerless computer companies. Okay, and that was the extent of growth that had happened in Microsoft. Such a visionary leader, such a transformational leader. Allow me to have a sip of a coffee, please. Thank you. Okay, so such a visionary leader. It is thanks to these visionary leaders. That technology expanded and rapidly exploded. You must understand. So he's a visionary leader. He knew where he wanted to go. Okay, a visionary is the one who knows. There's a Caribbean proverb which says, okay, if you know the way, you can lead the way. And when you lead the way, you go all the way. And that is a Caribbean proverb. So I'll repeat it. If you know the way, you can lead the way. When you lead the way, you go all the way. So Microsoft, Bill Gates knew. He knew the way, and where to go to, and he reached where it is. Or the richest man on planet Earth for 15 years, still a industrialist to reckon with, a visionary leader. Okay. Number two, he was right time, right place at the right time. When personal computing industry started, when devices got shrunk, okay, and when the power emanating out of it became larger, when integrated circuits took over the computing paradigm, etc., he knew that it is his time. So that vision that he has had, and he was at the right time in the early 80s, it was in the year 79 to 81, all this was happening. So by about 80, 81, Bill Gates was there. He was coding to glory. Okay. And he approached, he went to IBM, Armo, okay, in New York, and approached them and told them that I have this ability to make this operating system. And IBM gave him the opportunity. And he first wrote the operating system for the IBM personal computer. And that was called DOS, Disk Operating System. DOS. And this came to be called, then he started his company called Microsoft. Then it came to be called as MS-DOS. Various versions of MS-DOS happened. Then he made it from a character user interface. He made it a graphical user interface. GUI came into being. That is the genesis of Windows. And that is what we are using now. The absolutely current and latest version of Windows came into being. So he's the right place at the right time. It is thanks to the superpowers of or visionary powers of people like Bill Gates that technology at Fathom technology has grown and exploded into these levels. Okay, so next winning matter. He was let me tell you, my dear friends, lots of us in our life, ultimately when we are going to win, we give in. We don't give up. We give in. How do we give in? We'll say, why do we alone be the monopoly? Let others also come in. Okay, so I will give some opportunity. I will give some market. I will move away from A or B or C and let them also come in. Bill Gates, winning matter. To Bill Gates, winning matter. Okay, and therefore, when he went to fight in the market, marketing is always a war. Okay, he said, I don't take prisoner of war. What do you mean by prisoner of war? If you take in war, when war happens, some people, when the country which loses or the team which loses, they will become slaves of the team which won. But then you have to take care of this war, POW it is called as. Bill Gates said, if you take over a company, annihilate the company. I don't want to take prisoner of war. I want all or nothing. Okay, so he says, winning matters and I don't want prisoner of wars. Clean up, completely clean up. If there is an enemy, clean him up. And that is what he went. So while he was a visionary, he was extremely competitive in nature. He says, in my field, no one. I don't take wars. I don't take prisoner of war. Okay. And what did he do? He had the best and smart people. He was actually studying in Harvard. Harvard is a citadel of learning. All of you know. Harvard is a citadel of learning. All of you know. But he left that place. Okay, so he could not go for his postgraduate studies. He could not go for his doctoral studies. He could not go for his. Today he employs not less than about 3,000, 4,000 doctorate holders in computer science and many other technologies. Just look at it. So he hired the best people. In fact, in his biography, you look at it, how he had actually convinced Steve Ballmer to get out of the college and join up with him. And later, if you realize, we have Satya Nadella, an Indian who is actually heading Microsoft. How he had been able to identify Satya Nadella as the chief executive officer of the organization. He took the best people and then hired them and ran his fiefdom. Okay, next. Don't take your eyes off the ball. And I think most of you people sitting in front of me, you are not a stranger to cricket. And you know that, in cricket, you cannot take your eyes off the ball. If you take your eyes off the ball, it can come and hit you on your head. It can take your wicket away. It can touch your bat and go for a catch, or you may get an injury. So don't take your eyes off the ball. Is the first lesson that the coach tells you when you go to get coaching on the cricket. So he says, be focused. Be focused. Yes, we are into Microsoft. We are into operating system. Be focused. And that enabled that operating system to move from CUI to GUI into multiple user, into server standards, into multiple of this. Today, that single thing called Office 365, which is a Microsoft productivity suite, which person is not using that? What is the percentage of people who is using a parallel to this? Office 365. 90% of the world uses MS Word. 90% of the world uses Excel. 90% of the world uses Microsoft PowerPoint, right? So you had complete annihilation of the competition and complete takeover of the market has happened. How? He did not take the eye off the ball. And that is another trait that Bill Gates had. Going forward on the Bill Gates. Okay. Falls in love with technology. I don't have to say that because he had seen that opportunity while he was an undergrad student. And he fell in love with technology, started coding 16 to 20 hours a day. Even today, he's infatuated by technology, goes after technology, but lately he's into genomics and drug testing technology. So I think he has shifted his focus subsequent to becoming a philanthropist. I will come to that a little later. Okay, now learn to survive. I'll tell you why. There was a point in time in the late 80s and the 90s, Microsoft was tottering because Apple came with some wonderful utility softwares, okay, and then Compaq came up, and many other software companies started developing solutions. Okay, and Microsoft thought that we are going to be numbered, but they didn't. That determination in him to learn to survive. You know what they did? Laurie Ellison came up with the Oracle RDBMS into the market. Microsoft did not give up. They went and the SQL, the SQLs, that is SQL software, which is originally a public domain software. They took it over and they created MS SQL software. Today, more than 50% of the desktop, more than 50% servers in the world use MS SQL as the RDBMS, not Oracle, because it is expensive. Though it has further lovely capabilities, it is expensive. So learn to survive. He ensured that they did not wither away. Not only that, somewhere in the second decade of his existence, the American administration wanted to cut Microsoft into 2-3 different organizations. Okay, because they were a huge monopoly. Okay, and he survived that onslaught somehow, and they learned to survive. The great example of an individual and an organization that withered away all the storms, and still even today considered to be leader, of course led by an Indian called Satya Nadella. Okay, now he says, don't wait for people to come and say thanks. Okay, it may happen. He was, I'll tell you the story behind it. Apple was practically getting closed because of shortage of money. Okay, and Steve Jobs went out of Apple and came back to Apple. Okay, he called up Microsoft, our Bill Gates, and told him, I need some cash. They were really enemies as far as technology was concerned. Steve Jobs' computing paradigm was people-centric. Microsoft's computing paradigm was technology-centric. Okay, so they used to really make fun of each other in all public podiums. There was an Apple group and there was a Microsoft group. Notwithstanding the fact, Steve Jobs of Apple called up Bill Gates of Microsoft and told him, I want money. So he asked him, how much you want? He wanted, I want 150 million US dollars. Please understand, this is happening some 25 years back. He gave 150 million US dollars of Apple and took some stakes in that, but later he has diluted that later. But that 150 million US dollar made Apple survive, and the new avatar of Apple started coming in the form of iPods and iPads and Mac, new versions of Macs, and of course iPhones later. Okay, now you will realize, and Bill Gates says, I'm not waiting for him to say thanks. He had a requirement. I had put an option. He took it. So he says, I don't expect to go and say thanks, and I don't expect anybody to come and say thanks. This is business. Winning matters. Annihilation matters. And the last element of him. Now, this is what. So he has now moved out of Microsoft as the CEO. He continued to be the chairman. Then he put Steve Ballmer, his buddy from the college, as the CEO. It went off again and again. Later, Steve Ballmer retired. And then, of course, you know that Microsoft, when it was started, he had another founder called Paul Allen. Paul Allen left Microsoft in 7th or 8th year. Steve Ballmer took over as CEO. Later, Satya Nadella has come into being for the last 7-8 years. He continues to be associated with Microsoft, but he's not driving the business. Okay. Today, you will see him. His biggest, he has a foundation called Bill and Melinda. Melinda is his wife. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which has something close to about 50-60 billion dollars in surplus available with them. He went around and met all the richest men in the world, like Warren Buffett and all. And then he had actually pulled up really a big corpus, and using that corpus, they are doing philanthropic activities, charity activities. And he is now funding. In fact, if you know, the Serum Institute in Pune, which is creating that Oxford COVID vaccine, the original cost of the vaccine will come to two instances will come to about 2,000 rupees. Now he is subsidizing that, so the vaccine is will be available to Indian at about 350 plus 350, some 600-700 rupees. The 1,300 rupees is subsidized by Bill Gates. So he is actually helping the world overcome the diseases. He is now leading the world overcome diseases, and he's looking at genomics and drug testing and drug discovery and disease-free world as his. So such a visionary, transformative leader. I hope I had been able to place the persona called Bill Gates in front of you. Let me go to the next persona called Jeff Bezos. Okay, Jeff Bezos was a finance executive in Wall Street. He was into share trading and things like that. So that is when internet came into being. He found Anand Sadhanagal and the far-sighted opportunities of in internet, and he started a bookshop, and the bookshop came to be called as Amazon. And that bookshop today controls, anything and everything in the world is sold through his platform. Amazon platform. Not only that, close to 30% of the data and programs of the world is available in his cloud called AWS. Today, he's the richest man in the world, and that is Jeff Bezos. Let me place Jeff Bezos before you. He says, I don't care about analysis and paralysis, because this is a word that in India we had seen during Manmohan Singh time. We said Manmohan Singh does analysis and paralysis, no actions. That is why the second ministry, nothing happened. Okay. And that helped Narendra Modi to actually win over and now become the boss of India. Now, only action. He says, I am more interested in action. I am not interested in analysis, paralysis situation. So Jeff Bezos is a man of action. He saw that there is action, and he saw an opportunity to run a bookstall on the internet, and that bookstall has become a e-commerce site through which $1 trillion worth of materials are transferred this and that way. Okay. Second, he says, I have no regrets in life, even if I fail. Of course, he said, okay. He said, I was actually doing bloody well in Wall Street, but I just left it, and I ran a loss-making organization continuously for 15 years. In fact, for the first 15 years of Amazon's existence, people did not know whether this company will make money. Today, look at it 15 years later, that is 30 years later, 25, 30 years later, look at Amazon. A company with the first 15 years was running complete losses of billions of dollars. But it didn't falter him. It didn't fall. I say, I have no regrets. I'll run it. Okay. So even if you fail. Now, another thing has happened. Very recently, about 2 years back, he divorced his wife. 50% of his earnings was given to his wife. He said, yes, I have no regrets in life. She has taken us, gone away. So he says, no regrets in life, even if I fail. The third thing is, I am in no great hurry. Bill Gates was in a great hurry to conquer. But Jeff Bezos says, I am in no great hurry. Oh yeah, my company is making losses. So what? We will make profit one day. 15 years continuously it lost. 15 years, billions of dollars was lost. Billions of people were invested in Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon was lost. The Amazon was only a bookstall company to begin with. Today, where are they? They control everything to the extent Amazon actually can make you want. You may not want something, but it can actually come into you and influence your brain to want an item that is available in their electronic commerce showroom. So he's in no great hurry and grow slow, no hurry. Next, WOM, W-O-M. W-O-M is called word of mouth. Word of mouth. He says the best publicity is the word of the mouth publicity. Let people know about us. Slowly, from one mouth to another mouth to another mouth to another mouth, let it be heard. He says that is the best. When people tell their experiences to others, they'll be motivated and fascinated to buy, not by advertisements and all. So he actually believed in word of the mouth publicity. Okay. He says, okay, in my site, I'm going to sell items, but I'm going to make it so bloody cheaper. And you know, my dear friends, my dear students, lots of you people, you will go to a physical showroom to test a shoe, but you will not buy it from there. You will go to the Amazon and buy, because that is going to be cheaper by 20%, 30%. So he says, why did he do that? He used to scale. He used to size as the biggest thing, bought in millions of versions, billions of numbers of items, brought down the price, negotiated hard, brought down the price, made it available to us at cheaper. And he says, charge less and get as many clients as possible. Excellent criteria. No way. So I'm going to say, if you read, can you imagine if you go to an Adidas showroom, buy a shoe for $3,000, the same shoe you can buy, so 3,000 rupees, the same shoe you can buy from Amazon for 2,500 rupees. How about it? How about it? The original manufacturer showroom is not able to give you a better discount as compared to Amazon. That is the size of scale. That is the size of negotiation he made. He said, charge less, get as many clients as possible. Okay. He said, don't stop innovating. All these great people, whether it is Bill Gates, he said smart people, good people, innovative people, creative people, qualified people, experienced people. He says, don't stop innovating. Today, Amazon, the Amazon, most of their Amazon godowns or warehouses comes to the tune of about 50, 20 football grounds. Individually, you cannot go and pick up items. They use a robots, go and collect it and bring it. So lots of innovation has happened in billing, in point of sale billing, in storing, in warehousing, in transporting, in logistics management, all that they have accumulated. Today, Amazon is a very, very highly innovative company using technology to make things available to us. And he is flexible, at the same time stubborn. He says, I am not having huge value system which I am going to sit upon. I will not, it is not that I will not change my value system. I will change my value system. But at the same time, I will change my values only when it is required to be done. I'm flexible enough to understand that. Yeah, I'm saying that if by keeping my values, I'm not able to grow forward, then I can change. So that I'm stubborn. I go by my values, but if it is flexible, I will. So it is not, I know he's willing to be moving. He's agile. He's agile. He's flexible. At the same time, he's stubborn. That's an excellent quality. Because see, stubborn people are not flexible. Flexible people are not stubborn. And here is a businessman who is both flexible and stubborn. It's a great quality. Okay. Now, beautiful. Lots of people whom we know, they are dreamy people, transformational and dreamy people. They create things out of the world and they bring us a lot of things. But here our man, Jeff Bezos, he's a realist. He's a realist. He says, what is it that what people matters? What is it that they want? And make it available to them. He doesn't, that's what he says. I don't go after analysis paralysis. I go by action. And I go to find out what does a person want, I make it available to them. I want to understand what is reality and go by that. So he's a realistic guy. Flexible, stubborn, as well as realistic. Next. Learn even if it is through imitation. He says, there is nothing called original thinking. And if the original thinking, if it is there, and if it is good, I can imitate them. I don't mind imitating them. I don't want to say that this is my original thinking. I will not change. I am flexible enough to change. Okay. Even learning is important. Innovation is important. Creativity is important. Even that is imitation. I have to imitate somebody and some company and some products and some solution. I will do it. No problem. I want to do that, make products and solutions available, make it available on my e-commerce site and charge less from the customer and make them the winners. Excellent thought that he has come. And that is why today across the world, Amazon is the biggest leader doing business worth of hundreds of billions of dollars worth of business year on year. Okay. And he always thought that, okay, by doing this, he said, I will grow slow. I'll be on loss. All that is fine. But he says, in the end, I will create history. My dear friends, my dear students, he really created history. Okay, nobody ever thought that such logistic solutions are available across the world for a company like Amazon to come into being. There is, you have heard the stories of Walmart and JCPenney and things, Kmart and like that. It was with such a humongous level of logistics that they have been able to make this, and that logistic actually costed them very highly. Here there's a person making products and solutions from across the world available to across the world, okay, by such logistic means, by such innovative means, by such lesser value, the lesser cost, and he had created history. He is today the richest man on planet Earth, presenting to you Jeff Bezos. I'm sure to lots of you, he must have been an inspiring story. Let me come to the last person in my presentation, that is Mukesh Ambani. I'm not going to Dhirubhai Ambani. I'm not going to the making of Reliance, etc., because that itself is a story worth about one day. Okay. And in case in case you want to really know the story of Ambani, I can come over and tell you people, taking one night sitting with you all. So I'm not going to get into the Genesis story and all. I want to get into the second generation story of Reliance. The second generation story of Reliance starts with Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. Absolutely 180-degree apart. If one goes west, the other goes north. Okay. He is a humble person. Anil is a very arrogant person. Okay. He is a thoughtful person. Anil is a jumpy person. Okay. He goes to people. Anil fights with people and call them names. So all sort of things have been there. And both of them had $50 billion worth of industry when it was split and given to them. But today, where is Anil Ambani? Practically, this is what is Anil Ambani. Zero. Today, where is Mukesh Ambani? The sixth richest man in the world. And I wouldn't be surprised, and you wouldn't be surprised. None of us would be surprised if he moves into the top 5 and top 3, and even he becomes the richest man on planet Earth. That is where the movement is happening, my dear friends. Okay. Now, Mukesh Ambani. Okay. First is what? Be humble. Be humble. Servant leadership. Be humble. Be humble to people. And Mukesh, see, you must have seen many photographs, including his daughter's marriage, son's marriage, he addressing people. Have you seen the trait of arrogance on his face? No. Very humble. In fact, he has even a small stoop in front of him. Okay, in front of him. Very humble. He always presents you a figure of very humble person. And that humbleness in him had created so many friends, so many associations across. He is a rank opposite to his brother Anil, who is completely arrogant. That was the reason for his downfall. Okay. Be open-minded. He says, Yes, I have been, my dad was rich enough to send me to Harvard and Wharton and all. I have learned a lot, but I'm open minded to understand and accept things even today. So there is nothing that I'm close to. I'm not saying that this is what is the world going to be. I'm willing to understand, I'm willing to absorb, I'm willing to learn, and I'm open minded. So that is humble and open minded, a fantastic combination of learning and progress. Okay. And he also did what he did. He got innovative people around him. Okay. Anil also had innovative people around him, but those innovative people was always worried that Anil will call them names. തെറിവിളിക്കും ചീത്ത വിളിക്കും എന്ന് പേടിച്ചാണ് അവരിരുന്നത്. Whereas Mukesh always traveled with the people. He always listened to the people and he motivated people and he got innovative people around him. So you have seen in all these three people, they gave a lot of importance to innovation, and that is the key. And today we live in a world of disruptive innovation. That's a different subject. We will touch upon it later. He said, okay, I invest in excellence, creating the best of the best and completely going and renewing it every time. So invest in excellence, continuing excellence, creating new excellence. And that is what the paradigm. And if you really look at lots of businesses that he has done, it has gone to from one end to the other end to the other end to the other. It is like Sergey Bubka and pole vault. Sergey Bubka was a pole vaulter. He created history by crossing 5.95 meters when he created history. Okay. Thereafter, from 5.95 to 6.15, he jumped. In all this thing, every centimeter he was creating history. So he was actually creating excellence after excellence after excellence after excellence. And that is what is Mukesh Ambani doing in Indian businesses. And very soon you will hear it about in global business as well. Okay. Invest in future. What is Reliance Jio, my dear friends? What is Reliance, my dear friend? You will now that we are in 2020, just 2020 to 2040, or even 2020 to 2030, my dear students, my dear people. Okay, you will see Jio becoming a part of not only you, not only the consumer, not only the internet user. Jio will become a part of the Papa Mama shop. Jio will become a part of delivery. Jio will be a part of your life. Jio is going to tie you down with it. Okay. And that is so for that, he invited Mark Zuckerberg. He invited our the Google Sundar Pichai. He invited so many, the Aramco, everybody to come and invest in the company, and of course SoftBank, etc., investing in billions of dollars in his company, so that he is actually going to create a future. And my dear students, you must understand one thing. It is success people are the one who create the future, who build the future, not the one who actually go after the future, go after that thing, go and by the change to happen and change. No, you create the future, you create your future so you can be the leader in the future. And you had seen Mukesh Ambani investing in future. You will hear a lot about Reliance Jio in time to come. And another thing, invest in future. If you really look at Reliance, started as a yarn company, thereafter it went to petrochemical company. India's largest petrochemical refinery belongs to Reliance. Okay, but he knows that the hydrocarbon fuels are going to be less available now. So now Reliance Distillery and Reliance Industries will actually take a backseat. You will see Reliance Jio coming into the foreground, and technology combined with e-commerce, combined with everything, actually touching your life in many different ways. So he's investing in future, fully realizing that the enterprises that he has will actually go into the back seat. Okay. Now, another important trait in him, his classmates still remembers him. He's still in touch with his classmates. Okay. He's in touch with all his relatives. He's in touch with his employees. He's always there in the family. If you see ISL happening, okay, which is run by, of course, his wife, Mrs. Ambani, and he goes with her. In the IPL, he goes with her. You will see him everywhere. And you don't see arrogance in his face at all. He sits there in the corner, keeps family and friends together. So he keep humble, open-minded, keeps family and friends. Excellent combination for being a humble leader or a servant leader. Okay. And he believes the fact that teamwork works. If the teamwork, there is nothing called Bhagirath any longer. We need to be part of a collective leadership. We need to be part of the collective one. He identifies himself to be first among equals, but he actually depends largely on the teamwork. And there's a lot of teams around him to see that wonders are made in business, and in future you'll see lots of them. And he also says that one or two businesses that he had started, he failed. But he said, I didn't give up. And he says, don't give up. Don't give up. Even if it fails first or second time, go after it, refine it, bring in excellence, bring in people, bring in innovation, and you will come up. So he did not give up, and he had actually come up very well. And the last of it, he says, welcome the challenges. I'll tell you why. His brother was running Reliance Infocom. The complete internet and mobile phones, etc., was run by his brother. In fact, there was an understanding between them that they will not go poach each other. They will not go from one to the other. Okay. But when he saw that his brother's companies are tottering and it is going to go bust, okay, he realized that the technology is going to rule the roost of the world. Okay. And where he was not there at all. He was in petrochemicals, he was in neon, he was in retailing, he was in things like or oil exploration and things like that. He was mostly doing business around petrochemicals. But then he says the future is going to be different. And there are going to be a lot of challenges. He said, notwithstanding the fact that we don't have that people and the infrastructure right now, he created that. And Reliance Jio is one such an example. You will hear about it and you will feel about it. You will work with that and it will be part of you for ages to come. And you watch that. And the challenging the welcome attitude that he had. So, my dear friends, I am presenting Mukesh Ambani to you. He has a lot of combinations: humble leader, open-minded leader, learning leader, teamwork leader, bringing innovative people, and he doesn't give up. And of course, there are some of his father's traits are with him, but many of his brothers, younger brother Anil Ambani's traits are not with him. And you have seen that, both of them started with equal enterprises, but one has completely tottered the other. Absolutely, right on the top, sixth richest man in the world, and going to be maybe very soon the richest man on planet Earth. My dear friends, so that is a presentation. That is a presentation of Mukesh Ambani. That is a presentation of Bill Gates, and that is a presentation of Jeff Bezos for you. I chose these people to be presented to you. I have taken more than about 40-45 minutes to present that. Let me wind up in the next 2-3 slides. Okay. There are different type of leadership. I will not spend too much of time because I have said all this that what I wanted to say in there. Transformation leader, for example, Bill Gates. Transactional leader, reaching nowhere. Don't be a transactional leader. Okay, get out of that. Democratic leader, good. You can actually lead a team. Don't be an autocratic leader. Only if you're autocratic leader, don't be like a Pinarayi Vijayan, or don't be like a Xi Jinping. You have to respect people. You have to make people your followers, and you have to be a humble person and a servant leader. That is very important. And some people give a free rein. You give a free rein, then you can't lead well. So you need to have them together in the form of a servant leader, a humble leader, a transformational leader, and apply democracy and see that, okay, you lead. And these are the various type of leadership that is in front of you. Okay, I end my presentation here. I hope I have been able to do justice, Samson, for the given time to prepare these slides and bring it to you. I concentrated on 3 individuals. One was the last generation, one is of this generation, the other is an Indian before you.